Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be replacing the valve cover gaskets in this 1990 D150 with a 318 in it. Not only will I do that, but I'll be showing you the tools that I use and the procedure that I like to go through. So, without further ado, let's get on into it. So the tools that you'll need for this job is going to be a screwdriver to help you guide the valve cover gasket, a small extension. I'm using a 3/8 drive, a 10-inch extension, a 3/8 ratchet, a 7/16 wrench, and you got a 9/16, right? Yep, 9/16 socket and a 7/16 socket. A 7/16 socket is going to be the one you mainly use. And then also you're going to need a pick, or you could use a flathead screwdriver or something to help with hoses that are being stubborn. I will have links to these items down below if you don't have any of them. And if you do use my link, I do get a small commission out of it, so that'd be cool if you use it. I would really appreciate it. So the first thing I like to do is diagnose the valve cover gaskets. Are they really leaking? What's going on there? So let's open the hood and check it out. That's how I open my hood. As we can see, we got some oil built up. So this valve cover is bad. Hopefully you guys can see the oil. So I will definitely be replacing that one. Let's check on this side. Oh, we're leaking there too. All right, so looking at the top of the engine, we have where our air filter is. All right, well, without further ado, let's take the air filter off. So this is where the air filter goes, and as you can see, it's pretty nasty in there. It's clean on the inside, but man, it's nasty on the outside. So this is getting replaced. The next thing we're going to want to do is take off this hose and that hose. Let's move that out of the way. You got to take this hose off. There we go. Probably shouldn't forget about these. There we go. I decided to start with the passenger side. What's going on here is this module has to come off. As you can see down there is a nut that has to come off, and that will come off with the 7/16 socket. All right. Nice and easy. All right, so I wanted to show you guys how to take this bad boy off. Obviously, like I said, you got to take that nut off, and then you have to take this bracket off. And the nut has like a washer on it. And you're going to have to take this plastic piece off. Obviously, you're going to have to take the spark plug wires off. And then this just comes right off, like so. I'm just putting the stuff on the washer fluid so I don't lose it. I'm sitting on the fender right now. That is how I do it. And this should come right off. Just like so. And you're going to want to push this thing back, just like that. So now if you see, there's spark spark plug wires that are connected to the valve cover. So you're just going to pop these out like so. So this is connected to the valve cover. So this will have to come off, as well as this one. This bracket too. Just like so. Your goal is to clear your area so you can get this bad boy out. You also want to clean as much as you can on the back so nothing gets in the back. See all that dust and debris and stuff? You don't want that getting in your engine because that'll mess. So now I'm going to be taking off. I'm going to clean that as much as I can, the best I can. And then I'm going to be taking off the valve cover. So now it is time to take the bolts off. Now the same socket is going to be for the same bolts for the valve cover. So I will go and take those off now. I also wanted to recommend a longer extension. It's working for me, so I hope it works easy for you guys. Alright, so there's going to be 5 bolts to take off. There's going to be that one way in the back. This is the firewall. Got that one at the bottom. This is the passenger side. That one where my socket is. That one right there, right by the hole here. And there's another one by the filler. And then the last one by the engine oil fill. You can see it right in the middle of your screen there. Valve cover gasket. Check this out. I wonder why it was leaking. Yeah, these go bad though. Alright, so here's the valves. I actually had to vacuum them out. Just using my shop vac. Now it is time to put the new gasket on. Beautiful gasket. Here we go. Time to install it. Alright, so before you put your gasket on, you're going to want to clean the area. Make sure there's no contaminants that get in. Now we're going to put the gasket on. Just like so. The holes are lining up. Everything looks good. Now it's time to get the valve cover on here. So this is a pro tip. Before putting the gasket and valve cover on, you want to make sure the holes line up, which as you can see they do here. And you can actually, if you're very careful, you can put the valve cover gasket and the valve cover in as one, but you have to be very careful. Make sure the gasket doesn't come off. All right, let's go put this assembly on the truck. Now remember the orientation. I'm going to take the cap off. Just a little bit of wiggle. Now you're going to want to make sure you're not cutting into wires. And it's kind of hard because you want to make sure the gasket's not moving. You're going to want to be real gentle with it. I'm just going to go from back to front. Alright, well I got my bolts installed and I installed this back on. As you can see, you don't want to forget this clamp for that. So I got to put the nut on that and put the spark plugs over there as well. And then we can start on the next side. This goes back on here. There we go. This is how I have the spark plugs. So this is the front. And I just put them up to back there. So this side's done. Awesome. Let's move on to the other side. Alright, now we're on the driver's side. The first thing I'm going to do is take this hose off, take these spark wires out, like so. I feel like this side will be fairly easy. I'll never say that though, right? So we'll see how it goes. That's a pick. That's what I'm going to use. See if we can focus in on this. There we go. And this is just going to help with the hose over there. just like that. Comes right off. Alright, so that's done. Alright guys, once you get this hose off with your pick or however you do it, maybe you can pull it off, that's great. You're going to want to take this clamp off, and in order to do that, this clamp is welded to this line. So what you're going to want to do is take that nut off right there, you can see, and that is going to be a 9/16 socket, and I will do that now. Man, look at all that oil on that valve cover, that's crazy. Alright, let me get that done. Alright, so as we can see, this piece moves up now so we can get the valve cover off. So now what we're going to do is take the bolts off this side with the 7/16 socket. Just like the other side, there's 5 bolts on this side. Hey guys, so for the last bolt by the brake booster, you're going to need a wrench, 7/16 wrench, and that is the best way to get that bolt out. Now that I have all the bolts out, the best plan of action for this is when you're lifting the valve cover, you're going to want to lift this with it and pull it out this way. Here is the valves. Here's the old gasket. This one doesn't look that bad. Alright, so just like the other side, we're going to want to wipe down the mating surface where the gasket's going to go, and also wipe down the valve cover itself. Clean all this up. And then we'll install the valve cover. Nice and clean. Alright, time to install the gasket. Alright, let's make sure there's nothing wrong with this one. Double checking before we put it on. Alright. Time to get the valve cover. Just like last time, you don't want to crunch any wires. Okay, so we got the valve cover back on. Now it's time to put the bolts back in and start putting the engine back together with the new Wix filter. Before I put these bolts in, I did want to show you guys this flathead. I like to put it in the holes and make sure the gasket's lined up nice and neat with the cover and the hole on the block or in the head. I like to start with the hardest and work my way to the front. Okay, so what I'm doing now is tightening all the bolts down, and just like the other side, you want to make sure they're just nice and snug. You don't want to tighten them too much, but you also want to make sure they don't leak. Alright, after you get all the bolts nice and snug, the next thing you're going to want to do is install this long bolt that goes toward the bracket for that long metal hose that I was talking about before. So let's get that installed. And of course it's going to be with a 9/16. Okay, and this side is all done. The bolt's installed there. Now we can hook up our hose. Okay, so now we can hook up our hose. That goes on in there. Cool. That hose can go back on there. Alright, let's put the air filter housing on. Alright, so in order to do this, you're going to place the air filter housing where you want it. Connect this hose at the bottom, just like that. Don't forget to connect this hose. Install your new filter. Alright, now you're going to put the lid on. Tighten her down. Cool. Alright, I'll show you what's next. And you're not going to want to forget to pop this in. Just like that. Nice and snug. The hose is connected properly. Alright, now we're on the other side. You want to make sure this hose gets connected to that. And then you put this on. This is pretty easy, it's just a clip system. I did forget something. I'll show you guys here in a second. So here we are on the back of the engine on the driver's side. You just want to put these back on. Forgot to do it. Oh, you want to put these back on, these hoses, or the hoses, the wires, and then you're all set. Just like so. And this job is done. Now you can put degreaser and try to clean your engine, but I'm not too much of a fan of that. I mean, you can do it, it'll look nice, but over time your engine's just going to get dirty, so, and your hot engine's going to burn that old oil off. So if you don't clean the engine, yeah, you're still going to smell oil, but over time it'll start disappearing. So, but yep, we have completely finished replacing the valve cover gaskets. Alright guys, well that pretty much sums up the video. I hope it was informational for you and you learned a thing or two with replacing valve cover gaskets on a 318 engine. I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you guys watching throughout the whole video. Please like, comment, subscribe if you liked it. And if you didn't, let me know in the comments. Thanks.